Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, and so, yeah, I know I said that all this month I would be making Power Rangers related videos in honor of the Power Rangers movie and just call this Power Rangers month. But I've got to make an exception here because I've got to make a video about this. So, yeah, I figured I'd make a video to give my thoughts on the Logan movie. Because I went to go see the movie today, and yeah, I just need to make a video to talk about the movie and like just give my thoughts on how I really felt about it. So yeah, this was a really pretty good movie right here. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be like really loved by a lot of people. I mean, the score's like in the 90s for both critics and audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, people really do seem to love this movie. So yeah, yeah, this video is also going to contain some spoilers for the movie, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and don't want spoilers, yeah, you should probably wait till you actually see the movie to watch this video. So yeah, just giving you guys a heads up right there, this will contain some spoilers. So yeah, this was a pretty good movie right here. I mean, yeah, it actually is like pretty violent of a movie. I mean, yeah, this really has violence that we hadn't seen before in any of the previous X-Men movies, and yeah, I mean, gosh, I mean, just the way that Logan or Wolverine kills in this movie, it's just like really gory and violent. I mean, he's like, it's not just like we've seen in a lot of the previous X-Men movies where he's killing people by stabbing them in the chest. Here it's like he's stabbing them in the throat and the face and the eyes. I mean, yeah, he's actually like really stabbing them anywhere in this movie now. So yeah, it's a lot more adult oriented. Yeah. And so yeah, this movie is set like in the far future. This movie's set in the year 2029. And during this point, like, this is like where like basically just about all of the mutants and are like basically extinct because of there was a virus created by the Transition Project. Heck then yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't really actually explain like what happened to the other mutants. Like it doesn't explain like what happened to people like Cyclops or Iceman or Jean Grey or Storm or Rogue or any of them. Doesn't really explain what happened to any of them at all. Yeah, it just really shows that there are like very few mutants left. It just has like Logan, of course, or Wolverine, whichever you want to call him, and Professor Xavier is still around, and he's once again, yeah, Patrick Stewart reprised the role of Professor Xavier once again, and there's also another mutant named Caliban, and then Caliban's like gift of a mutant is like he's able to like sense and track where other mutants are. So yeah. So yeah, and yeah, basically like in this movie, like because of that virus that's extincting all the mutants. Like Logan is like really aging really badly because of that virus. It's causing like his healing factor to falter, and also the adamantium that's in his body is also like becoming a poison to him now. And yeah, of course, like Hugh Jackman, like in this movie, he like had a full beard. This, yeah, I mean, he just like really looked really old and just kind of worn out, really. So yeah, did a good job with the appearance in here. Yeah, and so yeah, and in this with this movie, like because Professor Xavier is getting like really old, well, like his telepathic powers and stuff are starting to are becoming unstable, and he's like kind of suffering from some like memory issues, and he can't even remember like who Logan is sometimes. And in this movie, like Professor Xavier is being cared for by Logan and Caliban, and in this movie, it's like at points like Professor Xavier is like suffering from some seizures and stuff. And because of that, and he accidentally like killed a lot of the X-Men. So yeah, I guess in a way we do kind of find out what happens to some of them. And the reason that he's doing it is because he has like sidekick attacks due to like his seizures. Like it's just like a seizure-induced attacks. Yeah, and so in this movie, like there's a nurse for Transigen who is named Gabriella, and yeah, she tried to approach Logan, and Logan in this movie, like become like some kind of like limo driver or something. And then yeah, Gabriella just asked Logan to escort her and also an 11-year-old girl to a place in North Dakota called Eden. And it showed that Laura is kind of like mysterious. Like she really didn't talk at all. Oh, and she was just like really mysterious. And Professor Xavier was trying to explain to Logan that has also become another mutant, and Logan didn't really accept it at first. But and then Logan eventually discovered that Gabriella had actually been murdered, and then he decided to then just accept his Gabriella's requested job of his. And then like during this whole thing, like the Transigians and like chief of security, like Donald Pierce is like trying to approach Logan and confront him about his mutant powers and stuff. Then eventually, like like Pierce and his in, his like basically his enforcers, the Reavers, end up attacking on Logan, Professor Xavier, and Laura. And they are able to escape, but they end up actually capturing Caliban, and they end up like ordering Caliban to use his powers to help them track where Logan, Professor Xavier, and Laura really are. And after like an attack on Logan and Professor Xavier, and it then shows that Laura actually is a mutant, and she basically had the exact same powers that Logan or Wolverine has, as she's actually able to. She actually has like claws in her hands as well, and yeah, basically has the exact same mutant powers that Logan does. Yeah, and if I did have like one problem, I did kind of like think that the claws for Laura did look kind of strange. I mean, it just showed like she had two claws from her between her outer knuckles, and she didn't have one in the middle. She just had two, so it was just kind of strange to see it that way. I mean, I like it better with the three claws, like Wolverine has himself. And then it's eventually revealed that Laura is actually Logan's biological daughter. And it didn't show like for a majority of this movie, like Laura didn't speak at all, and she just kind of remained really mysterious. And Logan also like discovers that Gabriella actually did help several children escape from the Transigen compound before, or like Laura was just brought across the border into Ethiopia. And then eventually, when like Logan, Xavier, and Laura stop in Oklahoma City, Logan feels that there's like skepticism over Eden, and yeah, of course, like in this movie, there's like a bunch of references to X-Men comic books. It actually shows like the X-Men comics in this movie, so yeah. Yeah, and then yeah, throughout this movie, like Xavier continues to have those seizures with his psychic abilities that I talked about earlier, and it turned out that the way Logan like is able to snap Professor Xavier out of it, he just gives them pills to like just calm him down and stuff. Yeah. And as they stop in a, they spend the night at another family's home after being invited there after helping them with their truck. And while Logan is with like the father of the family, it's then showed that the Transient's weapon, in which was like X-24, which is basically like a clone of Wolverine, which like still looks like in really good shape, like a younger Wolverine, basically like the one we've seen in the previous movies. He then ends up just then stabbing Professor Xavier more than just like mortally wounding him, and then he eventually captures Laura because the Indian people like they actually want to destroy Laura basically, and the X-24 also ends up murdering the entire family, and then Logan eventually then arrives and tries to fight off X-24 after he tries to like help like keep Professor Xavier alive, but eventually Professor Xavier just ended up dying. And then there was then like a fight between Logan and X-24, which was actually a pretty cool fight. Yeah. And then yeah, Caliban was like locked up in the the Transient's van, and then he ended up setting off two grenades and actually ended up destroying the van he was in along with himself. And Logan and Laura were actually able to escape. And then yeah, and Laura then ended up speaking later on, finally to Logan, and it just showed like at first she was just speaking Spanish, but then she was starting to speak some English, and then they eventually arrived at Eden, and there was just like a haven that was run by a lot of like the younger children that escaped from the Transigen tests. Then like the children there later on reveal to Logan that they actually plan to make a journey across the forest to the Canadian border. But eventually, like the Reavers end up like tracking down the children, and they try to kidnap them. And then eventually, like Logan uses like a serum that was just found with him, and he it was basically like something to help like revive him, and then he injected it into himself, and then it ended up restoring his strength, and then basically just reviving him completely. And then he just ended up fighting off the Reavers, and then he had another fight with the X-24, and eventually just the serum just wore off, and then eventually just Weapon X ended up just like overpowering Logan and just ended up impaling him right through a tree. But then like this movie is showing that the bullets that were actually shot at Logan are really what was ending up poisoning him, really. And so then Laura found a bullet with that ended up poisoning him, and then she ended up shooting the X-24 in the head with that bullet, which ended up destroying the brain and ended up destroying the X-24. And then it just eventually, as Logan was looking Laura in the eyes, it just eventually he ended up dying. And then the movie just ended with the children ending up burying Logan again, and then they started to journey across the border. And then there was a cross that was above, that was standing in the place where they had buried Logan, and then just Laura ended up just turning the cross over, and so it would like represent an X. That would just end up like honoring Logan as the last of the X-Men. So yeah, that was a really great way to end it, and that just seemed like just a proper way to just end this in these X-Men movies. So yeah, and that's really how the movie ended. So yeah, it was a really great movie. But now with this movie ending, like I just said, with that ending, it just seems like the perfect way to end X-Men. And I really do think that's what should happen now. I really think that Fox should just end their X-Men movie series completely. Because, I mean, this just seems the perfect way to end it. I mean, I think this really should be the last imagery seen in an X-Men movie at all. And yeah, this is just the proper ending for X-Men. So yeah, I really do think that the X-Men movie should end after this, at least with Fox, because I mean, yeah, especially with how this movie ended. I mean, what's left to do now? So yeah, but yeah, and yeah, I should also probably say I was one pretty disappointed that Hugh Jackman did not wear the classic Wolverine costume. I remember I made that video saying that he needs to wear that in this movie, and he didn't. And yeah, since this was gonna be his last film as Wolverine, it just really makes me feel kind of depressed that now we're never going to get to see Hugh Jackman wear the classic Wolverine costume. It's something I wanted to see for a long time, and now it will never happen. So that's kind of depressing right there. But anyway, back to what I was saying before. Yeah, I really think now this is the time for Fox to end the X-Men movie series because, yeah, what's left for them to do now? I mean, they've now completed three trilogies. There was the original trilogy, there's like the prequel trilogy with First Class, Days Future Past, and Apocalypse, and now this was the third movie in the Wolverine trilogy. So yeah, they've completed three trilogies now. I really think this is the time for them to end it. And yeah, like I said, just what's left for them to really do now? Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's like, I think like they're hinting that what was shown at the end of Apocalypse that there's a sequel plan for that, but I really think there shouldn't be anything else. I mean, I really think that this should really be the last X-Men movie made from Fox. This just seems like the perfect way for it to end. And so yeah, I mean, I just don't know like where are they supposed to go from here now? And I just really feel that after the way this movie ended, this just seems like the perfect way for the X-Men movies to conclude from Fox anyway. And especially like since there was no post-credits scene in this movie, like there was nothing after the credits here. Right? It just ended. So yeah, I just feel that this is the time for them to end it now. And I really do think that now, with this movie over, and with this being a good time for Fox to end their X-Men movies, now Fox should really just sell all their Marvel character rights back to Marvel themselves. Because, yeah, like I've said before, they've shown that they can't do anything with Fantastic Four at all. And now it seems like X-Men, this is the time for it to end with them. Yeah, so I really think that they should just like sell all their character rights back to Marvel. Now, of course, like they just got started with Deadpool last year with the Deadpool movie. So, yeah, I guess they still have some could still do stuff for that, but I don't know. For Deadpool, I think maybe that Fox should maybe just strike up some kind of deal with Marvel like Sony did with Spider-Man, and like they should share the rights with Deadpool and continue like the movie series with the first Deadpool movie last year, and just have like Marvel and Fox kind of just share the rights for that, and just have all of the characters for the Marvel characters that Fox has the rights to. Yeah, all those characters, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Deadpool, they should like now be crossed over to the MCU. So now we can like see more Marvel characters together, and we can like see them emerge with the Avengers too. I really would like to see that. I mean, especially like if they do something like a Avengers X-Men crossover movie like that comic series they had. I really would like to see something like that. So yeah, but yeah, like I said, just yeah, now with the way this movie ended, this just seems like the proper way to bookend the X-Men movies with Fox now. And I really do think now that there should be something like with Marvel getting the rights back and them doing something with Fox. I mean, I know there's probably like some other kind of stories that could be done with X-Men, but yeah, Fox now with them completing three trilogies, they should like end X-Men altogether and give the rights back to Marvel and give them see what they can do with X-Men now. So, yeah, but anyway, okay, so, yeah, that's all I really have to say about Logan. So, yeah, it was a really good movie. I would recommend you watch this, especially, like, if you do want to see, like, the way that the X-Men films for this series should really be over. So, yeah, alright, so, yeah. So, that does it for my thoughts on Logan and the future for X-Men now. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So, yeah, and now yeah, I'll go back to the Power Rangers videos again after this. Alright, so anyway, so yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.